Let's go KKR. Now, is Shreyas Iyer? I got a lot of these questions coming through. Is Shreyas Iyer worth retaining at 18 crore? Was a lot of what a lot of people were asking.
Suresh is an interesting one at 18 crore. I think if he went into the auction, I think you'd have at least two teams, I would have thought, that are going to have a big enough purse to be able to think, no, we want to move the needle here. We want him. They've dropped the ball with regards to letting him into the auction. We're going to secure that player because, we're prepared to pay 18 or more to get him in our shed.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Now, 11, like if you take Narayan Russell at 18, 14 in whichever order, is Shreyas your man at number 11? And now do you retain Rinku Singh? Do you retain Varun Chakravarti, Venki Iyer, Phil Salt, Mitchell Stark? So many good names.
Yeah, this one is the hardest probably, I think. But I think on the subject of Shreyas, branding-wise as well, as Tom mentioned, you've already lost. I mean, you just won the IPL and you've lost Gambhir. You don't want to lose another person from the think tank that won you that IPL. So that's why I think Shreyas will be retained at maybe 14 if he agrees to that.
And then, also, like, Indian captains are hard to come by. So so that is a big factor, and that's why they will retain Shreyas. And it's impossible that I can't think of anybody else that.
But without opening up that fourth player at the 18 crore slot, if you have Narayan and Russell locked, and you want one more retention, what's more valuable, Shreyas Iyer with his captaincy or Rinku Singh with that rare skill set as an Indian finisher?
This is just a genuine question. What do you think Rinku Singh would command at the auction? So let's say they put him in their RTM calculations, but Rinku Singh, very interesting player right now. What do you think Rinku Singh would go for? Tom, any guess? Your best guess?
I'd say 14.
Which means he becomes a retention then. It makes more sense to actually retain him.
Think he is, as Yash said, he's got a rare skill set. Again, a left-hander down in the middle order is so valuable. He seems like he's a terrific team player. He had a pretty quiet season last year in a successful team. We all know what he's capable of doing, so I'd be pretty reluctant to let him go.
But I would use the RTM hence, right? You could use the RTM then. You would save that money and keep it, because not many franchises really will have that kind of a money, I think, by the time Rinku comes out.
Can KKR potentially keep Shreyas Iyer, Rinku Singh, maybe Varun Chakravarti, and say we'll RTM our two West Indians?
I think the two West Indians are too valuable because they're all-rounders. And like a Rinku, ultimately, he is high value, but he is a pure batter. When you compare him to a Russell or a Narayan, they're giving you something with both bat and ball.
Also, and Narayan, the season that he had last year.
Yeah. Also, Shreyas and Varun together for 43, what would be 43 crore, right? Yeah, that feels a bit much.
Yeah, and I mean, what I would do is I would consider, and this is a maybe left field pick, but someone like a Ramandeep Singh as an uncapped player at 4 crores fulfills your Rinku role to a certain extent. Also bowls, gun fielder. So, in case you don't end up getting Rinku back, depending on how much he goes for in the auction, at least you have an Indian finisher there.
I think Ankush Raghuvanshi is also a good name for a retention potentially.
Yeah, in fact, this is one of those teams that stands out as a 2 uncapped player candidate, because you guys have mentioned Raghuvanshi and Ramandeep. There's Harshit Rana. Even if he does get capped, there's Vaibhav Arora.
Yeah, but I don't see them going to uncap because you're going to have that RTM for the amount of international players you have. Phil Salt could be someone you want back desperately. Venki Iyer, Nitish Rana. There are so many names. Chakravarti. So I think you could see why KKR, Nagaraj knows this. KKR and MI and maybe SRH wanted as many retentions.
This panel is sort of debating what we would do, and I think take the emotion out of it. The best business decision would be to retain the captain, retain Rinku, and retain one of Russell or Narayan in that third spot, and then do your best to get that Russell or Narayan, whichever one you don't retain, out of the auction so you get your full complement. Because I think the fourth player, this is another example of the fourth player costing a fortune to retain to get your balance of the players you want to keep. And I think you could get Russell or Narayan for less than 18 crore in the auction.
Very interesting. Very interesting. This I actually think you might just get Shreyas Iyer for cheaper. I'm sort of, it's a punt.
They also have someone like Varun Chakravarti who's a match winner.
Yeah.
So they want the strategy they have to be clear about. If they go with this kind of a strategy, they have only one RTM left.
Yeah.
So you choose to not use.
They would want
they
would want a few more RTMs, and just
so maybe you don't pick the uncapped. You let that be and go ahead with these 4: Russell, Narayan, Rinku, and Shreyas.
No, but you still have only one RTM, Yash, because you can't use.
Or you change it up completely. If you're so unsure, you change it up completely and you just retain Sunil Narayan or just retain Andre and keep your one main player, even if it's Shreyas Iyer, and everyone else goes into the auction. Big purse, play around with the RTMs.
Best would be Dre, Shreyas, and Rinku, and keep Narayan in the auction. And
I think we can safely say this is the one franchise that has possibly the most difficult decision.
Yeah. I think it's really hard. And I think when in doubt, you should just lock your players in and manage the auction on how it goes. These 5 or 6 guys that they retain, 4 or 5 guys that's going to, I think that's going to be their core. So I think you ignore the money then in that sense.